Hey everyone, so I have just started studying for the CMP, so that's the Certified Meeting Professional certification. Um, One thing that I've kind of noticed is there's not a whole lot of study material out there that's available free of charge. So hopefully this won't be straight up study material, but this will just kind of give you a guide on how I have saved money on my journey. Currently, the books are actually pretty expensive. So, just to kind of break down the process, you have to have continuing education hours and job or education requirements, and then you submit that. I ended up needing a few additional education hours, and so I had to pay for them. But there are free options out there. So if you check out ESPA, that's the Event Services Professional Association, they've got some free continuing education. I think there may be a couple of free continuing education hours that you'll find on the Events Industry Council website. I feel like MPI has some free courses, and then there's a lot of different free stuff you can find out there as well. For instance, I did a certification for event marketing through Eventbrite, and they took that as continuing education hours just to kind of give you, you don't have to pay for it. You can always just go out there and find it. I was kind of in a rush, so I went ahead and paid for maybe like 2.5 hours. That's all I really needed that I had left over. If you don't mind paying a little bit of money, there was a program that I did, and I'm actually renewing down there at Florida Atlantic University. They have a really great hospitality and tourism certification. It's self-serve, but it's a cohort base. So the next cohort starts over in, I believe, October. So you can check that out. There is also a free certification coming out of the same department, but it's not really hospitality based. It's adding value and quality, I think. I've signed up for it. So the deadline to sign up is the 29th of August, and then the cohort starts on September 4th or 5th. Go ahead and Google that. Like I said, I'm not being paid by them, so if I'm missing a little bit of information, you guys have got Google. Anyway, kind of getting back to uh, getting into the CMP, that certification. Um, just because that's a really big industry standard one. I never got it, but I've been applying for a lot of jobs lately, and most, if not most, then many of the jobs I'm applying for have a disqualifying question that's, do you have your CMP? So you might as well get it. Like I said, once you get all your continuing education hours, you pay an additional fee. It's $250 or maybe $225 for them to view your application. Once you get your application approved, you get a list of study resources. So one of them is the Event Industry Council Manual. That was $99, or you get a digital version for $69.95 or something. And there are some, you can find old copies that are a little bit cheaper. Uh, you're going to want to get the Professional Meeting Management 6th edition, which new copies are about $110. I've seen copies that have been a little bit more expensive and a little bit lower, but you get the idea. You might be able to find a copy here and there uh, for cheaper if you just keep searching, maybe eBay it. And then there was a glossary manual of just terms that are going to be on the test, and that's $35. So if you if you did all of your continuing education hours for free, so you've already, let's just say you didn't pay anything for that. So you're clocking in the 250, 225 application fee plus the fees for all the different books. Um, so you're thinking about all the fees of the different books. And then once you study for it, you have an additional fee for the take the exam, which is $425. And if you fail it, you have to wait 6 months and you pay the fee again, which hopefully you don't fail. But sometimes people do. It's kind of like an alarmingly complex, but also super simplified test. It's weird. Um, so I used a textbook rental service called Chegg. So that's Chegg. So I was able to rent the Professional Meeting Management, the current edition of it, for $16.99 for 3 months. I'm not going to need it for 3 months, but I actually wish I in higher ed, I like teach. like some business classes and intro to college classes and some hospitality classes. I honestly wish I would have bought this book because this is actually a pretty good book. Um, I didn't get the EIC manual, which is the ninth edition, but I got the old one, which is it's under the old organizational name, Convention Industry Council, so CIC and manual, and this is the eighth edition. The reason why I rented this textbook is because it's only one edition behind, so you're probably not missing out too much information. Plus, I was able to rent it for $11.99. So what the heck? I wasn't even gonna get the manual, but because this older version of the manual was so cheap to rent, I went ahead and got it, and it's pretty straightforward. Um, I haven't gotten the glossary. I don't know if I'll get that. I used a website called Quizlet. That's the word quiz, QUIZLET.com, and folks have made study flashcards, like definition, like glossary term flashcards. And the best of my ability, it looks like they actually used that glossary of terms that you pay $35 for to make these flashcard decks. And so there were a few that were only 100 words, but some of them were 400 and 500 words. So those are probably, I'm going to go ahead and not buy that glossary. I'm just going to assume that that covers it. But don't be, I mean, don't fret. There's glossaries in the back of both of these books with which obviously list all the terms. And I speculate that the reason why they have that $35 glossary is for somebody who just wants to study the terms and then take the test. Because honestly, if you've been working in the industry a while, especially if you're on the meeting planning side of things, you know, in corporate or like at a convention center, you probably know the entire test. And the only thing that you really do need to learn is the glossary terms so you don't mix up terms. One of my mentors, she took the test and she failed it her first time. She told me there were questions that were like, what do speakers speak at? And you'd have a bunch of different answers, but well, not a bunch, four different answers, but two of the answers were podium and lectern. And the answer was lectern because a lectern sits on a podium, and that's what the speaker actually speaks from and puts their materials on, versus a podium is just a raised platform on a speaking stage. So there are little nuances there where you can lose points just by confusing terms. Um, I also went ahead and paid $19.99 for a 1 month subscription to Pocket Prep. It's actually been really great. The questions seem like they're aligning with my reading. Right now, I've read the first two chapters of Professional Meeting Management, and today I'm going to read the first four chapters of the CIC Industry Council Manual. A lot of these books basically align with each other, so it's not like it's completely different material. The manual will just reinforce the more the academic learning, because this is essentially a textbook and really is an industry manual. So if that makes a difference to you. So I've got Pocket Prep. I've been getting on all the quizzes I've been taking. I've taken probably 10 so far. Um, I've gotten between 60s and 80s on it. So that makes me think that I could probably take the actual certification test and pass it raw. I'm going to go ahead and study more just because that 6 month window, like if I could retake it a week later after failing it, I would just take it now and just, throw caution to the wind. But because there's that big gap, life changes pretty quickly in 6 months. So I want to go ahead and make sure I'm at least well prepared. Uh, and if you see me looking off in the distance, my little kitty Polly is looking at me. I think she wants some kitty food. Anyway, so that's where I'm at with the book studying, the Pocket Prep. I'm just gonna continually going. There's an application as well. So if I'm like walking down the hall at work, I can just use Pocket Prep. The quizzes are set up in 10 question quizzes, so it's not like you're taking a full practice test. There's also practice tests that are available via the EIC Event Industry Council website. They're I'll save those for right before I take the test just to get a feel for what the test will really be like. The test is administered by Prometric, which administers the DSST exams. A pass is a 55 or higher on a scaled score. So I don't know what the actual like honestly like the scale is, but a lot of times what Prometric does with tests is if you take a certain exam, your score is scaled with everyone else who's taken that exam to date that month, and so you depending on when you take the test, what day of the month you take the test, you could get actually a very low score but still pass. Versus on other dates that you take the test, you would probably need to get a higher score to pass. It's kind of weird how that works. But Prometric is there. The test is available at testing centers that administer probably DSST exams, and or you can take it at home, which is what I'm going to do. You got like 3.5 hours to take the test. It's going to be pretty straightforward. There's some math and accounting questions in there, but I haven't gotten to that reading yet. Anyway, this is just where I'm at. This is kind of just a brief overview of where I'm sitting at. I plan to take the test in 2 weeks max. So, I'll get together with few more of these videos just to see where I'm at it on the thing. And if I can find it in my heart, I'll make some study guides so that you guys can at least have some stuff for free. Anyway, look down in the comments and the notes for links to websites like Chegg, Pocket Prep, uh, EIC, and so on and so forth. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and hopefully we all pass, right?